You know, the kind of silence that isn't quiet? The kind that's heavy, that presses on your ears and makes your own thoughts sound too loud? That was the silence in my apartment in Vancouver. I had the dictionary open, I had the grammar app. I had the podcast playing, but I had no one to talk to. My dream had come true. I was living in an English-speaking country. But my dream had a secret cost that no one warned me about. Profound, aching loneliness. I could order a coffee. I could say, "The weather is cold." I could nod and smile. But I couldn't connect. My English was a tool for transactions, not for friendship. I was a ghost in a city of 2.5 million people. The lowest point was a Tuesday. It was my birthday. Back home, my phone would have been buzzing all day. Here, it was a silent, black rectangle. I scrolled through the cheerful posts of friends from home, feeling an ocean away from their happiness. I decided I would at least buy myself a slice of cake. At the bakery, the young woman behind the counter smiled. "What can I get for you today?" "One slice of chocolate cake, please," I said, my sentence perfect and empty. "Excellent choice. Any plans for the big day?" She asked brightly, pointing at the birthday girl pin I'd foolishly worn for a shred of celebration. I froze. The question was a simple social courtesy, but it felt like a cliff. I could give the easy ghost answer. No, just quiet. But my loneliness was a stone in my throat. A dangerous, fragile idea formed. Tell the truth. My grammar broke. My vocabulary vanished. The simple, practiced English I owned left me. "My plan is no plan," I started, my voice shaky. "My family is far. My friends also far. Today, I am alone." I couldn't even say lonely. The word was too big. Alone was all I had. I braced for her polite, pitying smile and a quick end to the conversation. But her smile didn't turn to pity. It softened. She leaned forward a little. "Oh, honey," she said. "Not ma'am, our miss. Honey, a word of warmth." "That's no good. No good at all." Then she did something that changed everything. She broke the rule of customer and stranger. She started talking. Not about the weather. Not about the cake. About herself. "My first year here, I cried on my birthday too. I'm from a small town in Newfoundland. Felt like I'd moved to the moon. I ate a whole pizza by myself and watched terrible TV. Her English wasn't the careful English of my textbooks. It was full of gonna and kinda and no good. It was real. And in her sharing, she gave me a gift. Permission to be imperfect. Permission to be human. I managed to say, What did you watch?" She laughed. The worst romantic comedies I could find. It helped, actually. We talked for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. She told me about a park with great squirrels. I told her I missed my mother's cooking. We didn't solve my loneliness. We just acknowledged it together in broken, beautiful, shared English. I left with my cake and a small, burning coal of warmth in my chest. She had seen my ghost, and she had spoken to it. That night, I made a decision. I would stop using English just to get things. I would start using it to give things, to give pieces of myself. The next day, I went to a community board. I signed up for a volunteer gardening group where words were less important than hands in the soil. I forced myself to say to the woman next to me, "This soil is difficult." She agreed and showed me a trick. I started speaking my imperfect truth. "I find this confusing. That makes me happy. I feel nervous about my English." I stopped hiding. Slowly, the ghost started to become a person. Connections were built not from perfect phrases, but from shared moments of trying to understand, trying to be understood. That conversation in the bakery didn't end my loneliness, but it taught me the single most important English lesson I ever learned. Your voice matters, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. The deepest fluency isn't about verbs and tenses. It's about the courage to say, "I am here," and the grace to listen when someone else says, "Me too." You are not alone in this. Your journey, your struggles, your quiet Tuesdays, they matter. And your voice deserves to be heard. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever felt that silent weight, you have a place here. Subscribe to English Tailies. Let's build a community where we learn the language not just with our minds, but with our hearts. Where we learn to speak, and in speaking find one another.